This is Quantum Flow Radio, organizing thought particles into a flow of collective consciousness.
Well, hello, my friend.
Hey, what's with the computer voice?
I'm just using my own desires to speak.
You sound, your voice is definitely different. What is it? Are you become a robot or something? Have you been?
This is the advancement of technology.
Very interesting. It has such a personal and warm tone to it.
It does, doesn't it?
There
And
you go. There's
that's
the voice I'm familiar with.
And that's where we've been going rapidly over the last few decades.
Like you just blink and things are just getting more technical on us.
Yeah,
aren't they?
exactly. And if you bought a new tablet yesterday, guess what? It's old, and you might as well just recycle it.
It's antiquated already.
Yep.
Well, they want to get rid of the old merchandise that they made, last week, and
yeah. And of course, they tell you just bring it in the store. We'll recycle it for you. After we remove all of your data and file all of your financial information
and
then
charge you
sell
for
that.
it.
Yeah, exactly. So unbelievable.
Welcome to the 21st century, and that just brings us up to our topic today.
We're here. We're starting with technology.
Technology.
Yeah,
technology.
Yeah. Okay. I smell some sort of etymology.
Oh, I was just going to
up.
tell you about the word origin. Since you're the word guy, I thought I'd steal some of your thunder today.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy.
Yeah, I didn't do any homework on this one. So except I'll probably drop in a couple of things.
Oh, sure, yeah. I feel poppy today.
Yeah, it is a
crackle poppy.
Little poppy. Maybe we should just back off the mics a little bit.
Yeah, well, I was going to back on the mic because what I got to say is important here.
Okay,
so technology is this.
Yep.
Tech, the word, is of Greek origin.
Of course
which
is.
which every cool word is, or Latin. So this word origin relates back to art and crafts and, kind of like creativeness.
I can see that.
Yeah. It's not necessarily high tech. It could just be anything that's kind of created on an art or craft level. And of course, logo is the word logos, which is word.
Yeah. Or archetype.
Archetype, sure.
Yeah. And tech can also be in the Greek from tekton, which is literally builder or building.
Right.
So not necessarily, a rock or a building, but the actual act of building.
Right. And as technology increases, clocks will start going tech-tock.
Yes,
tech-tock.
Exactly.
Because it's just slipping away on you.
It is. Bam, zoom, there went another one.
Yeah. So technology is everywhere. You could almost say, could we even live without it after having it now? In fact, it's really a double-edged sword when you think of it. Because in one hand, the advancements in technology have supposedly made our life so much better. But, on the other hand, are we really happy and better off? Is this advancement and the speed at which information moves now, is that really harmonious with us? Is it really beneficial?
No.
You would think the answer would be yes. But when you really look at it, maybe not, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's a great topic. I'm loving it. So we have both things on the right hand and the left hand.
Sure. Well, we always have two hands.
Yes, and I don't know if this is going to end up in one of these
in a clapping or not, or
But we're
or
going
one hand tied behind your back.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, these life-changing technological advances that we've witnessed over the last couple of decades have just exploded. Just the multiplicity of it is insane. And I wasn't kidding when we opened the show with, what you bought today is probably outdated by now.
Right.
The advancements are unbelievable.
But your robot voice really packaged it well. So thank you.
Well, the thing that's most annoying about some of these technology advancements is that there's sort of a pre-designed disposal built into this because, for example, you buy a computer and then, maybe a couple, 3 years down the road, the browsers won't update anymore and the operating system won't update
That's like mine
anymore.
as soon as I get it home. But
yeah, exactly. And then eventually it ends up being in the closet or a paperweight or in a landfill somewhere because you just can't go any further with it. And they go, oh, no, you just have to buy a new one.
And I know you have all your old computers and calculators and everything else.
I do.
And tape deck machines. And because you never know when it's going to
I'd never known I'm going to need that
you might
portable
need it.
cassette
Yeah,
deck.
yeah.
Exactly.
And some of the old technology is better than the new technology.
It is.
Yeah.
It's got a little, especially audio. Records are way warmer
But
than digital music.
But you bring up a great point, and the point here is
Obsolescence.
they want you to keep buying. You're
Right.
You're the consumer. They want you to consume.
Right.
Every other year, they want you to buy a new computer, tablet, iPad, new phone.
Right.
Keep up with the Joneses, and of course, you've got to have the most trending technology in your hand, or you're looked at as a loser. So like the guy that pulls out the BlackBerry and says, "Here, let me text you," and everyone's going, "You have buttons on your phone. Welcome to 2000."
Yeah, it seems like our mobile device now is the sneakers of the 70s.
Yeah. And what's amazing is the technology in that phone that you're holding in your hand right now probably rivals the whole room at NASA in 1969 when they sent, the spaceship up to the moon.
Pretty scary.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the technology is just amazing.
Yeah, and when you wonder, you say, well, God, these phones cost so much. Well, yeah, but it's an entire computer that fits in your pocket.
Right.
So, it's not cheap.
It's got GPS.
If you don't like the price, then build it yourself.
Right, it's got GPS. It's got a camera. It's got
an amazing camera.
Yeah, video. It has apps, internet,
audio editing,
email,
everything,
texting,
and an unlimited supply of applications.
Unbelievable.
At a great price.
Well, it's all relative.
Well, the apps compared to older. Let's go back to maybe the 80s,
sure.
And you buy a PC, and then you want an accounting app.
Do they even have apps for that? I guess they did. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they were applications.
Yeah, they were apps. They weren't.
apps.
Yeah, they weren't the apps.
So those applications, I remember buying an accounting app, not QuickBooks or anything like that, but just one of the early ones. Peachtree, I think, is what it was. It was like $1,200 for a PC.
Yeah.
And now you can get an app for $6 or $7 that does the same thing. So in a way, that's good.
Yeah.
Only that back in those days, nobody was watching. So when you were putting in all of your data, it was just you and the machine.
Sure.
Now it's the world.
Yeah.
So anything that you put on your phone or your tablet, if you're online, and many times even if you're not, is available to anyone who knows how to get in.
Right. And
which is one of the downsides of technology.
Sure. Yeah. But it's all in your hand, and the easeability is just unbelievable at this time. You ever think in your lifetime that you're going to just be holding this? This was, this is like the Jetsons, almost.
Exactly.
Here, a cartoon in the '60s was almost tele-reporting what was to come in the future. It's very much like if you see this movie, 2001: A Space Odyssey, where they're in the spaceship going
Hal.
Hal. Yeah. You're going to. I think they're going to Jupiter. I think they were going to Jupiter. Or
I
somewhere.
don't. With Kubrick, anything.
Yeah. Well, they were going way out there. But while he was having dinner, he has a tablet in front of him in the news story, and then also, I think earlier in the movie, he actually has a face-to-face communication electronically. This wasn't around. This didn't exist.
No, this is Dick Tracy stuff.
Yeah, it's Buck Rogers, it's Dick Tracy, and here the Jetsons and all these movies. We're bringing this Star Trek. I mean, all that little handheld, Kirk, I'm out or whatever.
Yeah.
There's your flip phone.
Exactly.
Just amazing that all of this technology is kind of shown to us, and then within our lifetime, it's here.
Yeah.
Bam.
Yeah.
So that might tell you something.
Yeah, it tells you a lot.
It tells you an awful lot,
especially
you read
with,
between the lines.
Yeah, and when you look at not only for entertainment purposes, like being able to watch a movie on your phone, streaming, live
it's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, but from other technological advances, for example, in the medical industry, the technology in the medical industry over the last couple of decades is just phenomenal, and so many lives have been changed. I mean, think about. Since the advent of the cell phone, and since most people have cell phones, think of, honestly, how many tens of thousands of lives have been changed
Sure, but
or
they want to
save,
make
rather.
you sick so you can pay to get better.
Yeah, yeah.
mean,
but you show up and somebody needs some help. Boom, you're on your cell phone. Whereas in the old days, you'd have to go try to find a payphone somewhere, or wait for the black and whites to drive by. It's changed everything, and that's good. And again, there's downsides to everything. Everything has polarity.
Yeah, yeah. But the phone is one thing, but when you think of technology, this is a huge topic.
Yeah.
And I think right now what's beautiful is we're living pretty much at the most amazing time in history. When you think about it, nobody else has existed with this. Well, at least what we could surmise, maybe Atlantis or some of these advanced civilizations that we believe might have existed.
Mm-hmm.
They might have had advanced technology, but as far as we know, this is it, man. We're further down the road than we've ever been. I mean, there's advancements in technology like we've never seen before, and it's all colliding and coming into, conflict with the spiritual world and the human condition.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating to think about this. But what I wanted to get into is, you have your phone in your hand, and obviously we know, there's smart homes and smart meters and 5G and all this. We'll get into that.
Right.
But there has been throughout history some significant inventions in technology that's been created and invented that hasn't been shared with the masses.
Yeah.
Right. They don't want to make us too happy, but I just thought maybe we could, just maybe highlight a few of these things.
Yeah.
And then we can go into more present day and then talk about, the phones and what's going on with all that.
Lead the way, sir.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Lead on, McDuff. So I'm just going to hit the three main ones because, there's a long list. But starting off with, let's talk about Tesla.
Oh, yeah.
Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, the man.
The man, the myth, the legend. No, he really was. Have you've seen stuff on this guy?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until he met Westinghouse.
Well, he ran into some hard walls, let's
Yeah.
call them.
Yeah.
Yeah. People that didn't share his vision.
Yeah.
I believe he was a very benevolent person. I believe that when he invented or when he was thinking about creating this stuff, and obviously he was just in a different dimension than the rest of us, brought to us specifically to create this and enhance our lives.
Yeah.
But not everybody saw it the same way he did. So he created basically lots of different things. One of them was obviously the AC/DC, but alternating current, but the way to abstract electricity literally from the ground.
Right.
Which means you could just plug your plug into the
Do
ground.
something with it.
And maybe, hey, light your house up.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just going out and just plugging in, a little extension cord into the ground, and you can circumvent the electrical company and the gas company and everybody else. But
I always wondered how amazing it was. I think it was at the New York World's Fair when Tesla's electrical lights were first introduced.
they were.
Imagine being there and seeing something like that.
Yeah.
After
The
living with
place lit up.
candles, all these years, and gas lights.
No, and in the old days, you'd have tons of people coming out to these events because that was it.
Yeah.
Well, are you going to stay home in the dark, or are you going to go down and check out the new technology? I mean, imagine a whole building lit up with lights.
Wow.
Never seen anything like that before.
No.
It must have been fascinating.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't even think. I can't even imagine.
Yeah. So Tesla, I mean, imagine if electricity was free. This is what he wanted to provide. There's his inventions and his discoveries go on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just focusing on this one application. I mean, obviously, I think that a lot of his technology has been taken, when he passed away.
Yep.
They came into his apartment there in New York and took all his notes and everything else. I mean, I know that he had stuff, directed energy weaponry possibly, or do
Sure.
Which
Microwave technology.
microwave technology and all this stuff that he was on the forefront of, and he put it out there. And I believe that government entities, military, have used that as applications for things that we don't even know about.
I remember reading a story. Not to interrupt you, but
No,
I
you're
will.
not.
I remember reading a story where he actually went into a building in downtown New York, into the basement, with this handheld device that he had, and he actually attached it to one of these steel beams in the basement of this building and began to turn this dial and actually reached a certain frequency where the entire building began to shake.
Wow.
Just from the electromagnetic energy in that particular frequency that he was generating with a small handheld device back then.
And that tells you there's energies and ways that probably that were not disclosed to us. There's quite possibly sound vibrations or some type of vibrational energy that he was using to lift stuff off the ground.
Sure.
Without even
We talked a little bit about this in our pyramid
Well,
show.
yeah, the pyramid is, and then maybe this is the technology that was used for that. So he's connecting the dots. While he's connecting the dots, trying to make life easier for everybody and say, hey, here's free electricity.
Yep.
The power companies, Westinghouse, Edison, all these people fought him.
Right.
Because they didn't necessarily want that. They wanted to be able to provide electricity for you, but they wanted you to pay for it.
Well, yeah, and he was a DC kind of guy, and they were an AC kind of guy.
He was actually more AC, and then the other guys were DC.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
all right,
AC.
So,
and then,
so okay, well,
Edison was direct current, and that was the problem. The direct current was actually kind of dangerous. Yeah, and then you had to have substations every mile or two because the electrical current would
just kind of fade out.
Yeah, would fade out. But the alternating current actually created a uniform, consistent electrical current that could survive over a long distance. This is amazing.
Yeah, because the direct current would just go out but not come back.
Yeah.
So with the alternating current, it would go out and return again.
Yeah, I got a C in physics, but at least I took it. So
Exactly.
So, but that's number one, and so that's just amazing. We'll classify Tesla as creating what would have been a situation here, sitting in the 21st century, where we could be in our house and basically light it, heat it, and everything else would be pennies.
Right.
Imagine.
Well,
It'd be wonderful.
But
Yeah, okay.
There's money to be made.
Sure. Okay. So number two. So I don't have a lot of specifics on this because I am not 100% sure that this information, we always try to provide truth and facts, and we research some of this stuff, but this was a little bit difficult. We'll just put it out there. There was a guy in the 80s, supposedly, created a car that could run on water, or the abstracting parts of water, where you could get 50 to 100 miles on a gallon of water. Imagine that. Yeah. So, unfortunate thing about this guy.
Freshwater, because there's also a saltwater guy too.
Yeah. Well, see, that's just it. There was a freshwater guy. There's a saltwater guy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like hot and cold and lukewarm. There's going to be a water guy.
Gators and crocodiles.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we got to cover all the bases. Supposedly, a car that could run on water or whatever.
Yeah.
Just not gasoline. So this guy didn't fare too well.
No.
He was found dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Mysterious origin.
Committed suicide, although he didn't shoot himself twice in the head.
With a shotgun.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's usually.
How do you? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't even know how you shoot once into the head with a shotgun.
Right.
I don't even. Yeah. So this guy didn't. He's gone. But he had met with some oil companies. The big guys.
Yeah, the fossil fuel guys.
And they wanted to take his technology and use it for their betterment, but maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe they just wanted to get rid of him and hide this information. So is this truth? Is there a way? Is there technology where we could run cars on alternate forms of energy? And I'm not talking about the Tesla car batteries either. Although I did see one of those cars, the brand new van that has the gull wings. Pretty amazing. Yeah, good looking cars, but I still don't. I would worry about travel distance with these things.
Yeah, and the electromagnetic energy. That's what we'll get into that too.
Yeah, well, I knew when the people got out of the car and they were glowing.
Yeah,
I knew there was,
and it was still daytime.
It's there are a few setbacks with the new car.
Yeah.
So hey, just imagine. So there you go, free electricity in your house. You're driving around wherever you want to go on pennies on the dollar. Using water. Yeah. You could probably even use crap water.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even filtered or good water.
Exactly.
You could use
brackish.
Yeah, backwash or whatever. Yeah. You wash the baby, and then you put the water in the car, and you drive for 100 miles. It's amazing.
And then imagine the filtration processes that would come after that, because then they would find a way for the car to actually filtrate the water,
Right.
and return it back to you as clean, potable water.
Sure.
Yeah.
So number 3, and this is the last one we'll cover. Ever heard of maglev or maglev technology? That's the abbreviated term. If I said I can't even say the word.
Magnetic
levitation. Yeah,
Ah.
see, say that 10 times really fast.
Right. No,
I
thanks.
can't. Okay. So maglev tech, that's why they shortened it, because no one could say it.
Yeah.
So this is have
And
you ever
even
been
those 6 letters are a little rough.
Now this is not exactly, but have you ever been on the monorail down in Disney World?
Yes,
Yeah, that evil empire. But
Yes.
they have a cool monorail.
they do.
The monorail's not maglev technology, but it's kind of that has little wheels. But
Yeah.
a true maglev technology
They have in
has
Japan.
existed for yes,
Yeah.
it has existed for many decades. So this technology came about, and we'll just quickly summarize. It's literally a train that floats above a couple centimeters, just right off the track, and there's magnets in the track and within the bottom of the train.
Yeah.
And by kind of alternating these magnets and pulling the train, you can get a frictionless ride. You don't have any wheels. You don't have any parts. You don't have any parts moving.
Yeah.
This is brilliant. You just have big magnets. And as long as they're not doing any harm to you, and
Yeah,
guess
as
what?
long as they put them in the right way too.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
right.
you're not going anywhere. You know?
Sorry, you're not moving, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like when you put the batteries in the
Right.
flashlight the
Yeah.
wrong way. It's
Yeah.
not going to work.
No.
So the great thing is these trains can get up to 300, 400, 500 miles an hour,
That's insane.
and you feel like you're just floating.
Yeah.
Better than a plane ride, safer.
Yeah.
And all said and done, it's amazing. And you mentioned Japan has this already.
Are
but
they,
here's
isn't it's called the bullet train or something
yeah,
like
the
that?
bullet train. Yeah. There's variations of it, and like I said, this has been going on for decades. And even what's our friend from Tesla, Elon
Nikola.
Musk?
Oh, Elon.
He's trying to implement a new type of version of this, but he's called the Hyperloop.
Okay.
But this has all been done before.
Yeah.
Guess what?
What?
The maglev technology. There's patents on it. Okay. 1972. Do you know who owns the patent on this? No, you would never know. But but there's a little company called the Rand Corporation.
Okay.
We're going to throw them under the bus because they're not very good.
Yeah.
They haven't been good to us. They say they do all these wonderful things, but they have hidden. They have suppressed this technology. For what reason, I don't know.
Yeah, I
but-
was going to ask you for what reason.
well, because you're not using traditional trains,
Yeah.
oil, gasoline,
Yeah.
dirty diesel engines.
Right.
You know, the old track system.
But if they're in it for profit, then why hide it?
well, see, this is
They
this
just don't
is-
want to end up dead.
I have an idea. They have used it,
Oh.
but not for us.
Okay.
I believe that there is underground tunnels. You're going, Okay, so there's underground tunnels.
I think they're everywhere.
Maybe one between Washington, D.C. and Denver,
weather.
Colorado.
Or Denver, sure.
Yeah.
By the
out to
airport?
exactly, to the airport. So, you know, how would you like to get out there in 40 minutes?
Yeah. Zoom.
Zoom.
No.
Bam, you're there. Less than an hour.
You don't even need bathrooms on this train.
You don't have time to go. You don't even have time to think about going. You're just there.
Right.
You know, crack that book open and
Yeah.
hey, you're
Strap in. Here we go, baby.
so. And I like the idea of not having to go up in the sky because I think we're polluting the sky,
Sure.
and God knows what they're doing in the sky. You know, you see those planes that go straight up
Yeah.
and they leave this big.
Yeah. Not to mention the exposure of excessive radiation to the people that work on these planes. You know.
It's just
It's
all
not
why
good.
put people in a tin can? You know, 30,000 feet up in the
Especially
air.
when it's made out of aluminum foil. They don't bounce very well.
Well, what goes up must come down. I'd rather
Exactly.
just stay down.
Stay
than-
down in the
stay
first
down.
place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people love to fly. That's fine. But,
Travel
you know, I'd
option.
rather.
My travel rule is if I can't reach out and put my foot down on the ground, I'm not leaving.
That's why you always have those very low cars to the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is just what's going on. Like
know.
so they've hid this from us too. So you have electricity, cars, train, transportation.
Yeah.
Those are three big things that have been suppressed and hidden from us. Imagine how life would be, a true, beautiful utopia,
Yeah.
to be able to invite these things into our daily life. And really, this would fundamentally help us out. Not only monetarily, but it would help us out easability-wise.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to worry about anything.
No.
You know,
No. But
you
I
run out
think
of
that-
water, you can find it, out of your bottle or.
I think that the ongoing conflict among humanity in this illusory concept of being separated and divided, it lends to all of this. Because if it weren't for these wars and these territorial arguments and things like that, we could share this technology freely with everyone. But unfortunately, at this point, you got to keep stuff in your pocket and not even tell your own people about it. I had a friend of mine who once told me if the American people knew 5% of what the federal government and military stopped from happening on a daily basis, they'd never leave their homes. So that was an eye-opening
I've heard that
moment.
too.
Yeah.
Very
scary.
Sure.
So this technology, some of it at least, is being used for protection purposes to keep us safe from harm on a country
Supposedly.
level. Yeah, on a country level.
Sure. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And like, for example, I've heard there are these trains that can leave underground beneath the White House and the executive offices and head straight out to Mount Weather or other destinations.
Yeah.
Out in West Virginia where the what is it, the hotel
home-
out there?
Not the homestead, the
Greenbrier. I think,
Greenbrier. Sure, yeah, yeah.
Where they're
You ever
all
been
set
there?
up. No, I've never been there
It's
in
very
person.
nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
How
I've seen
can
the
you not
pictures.
be there? That's like your home state.
I know.
Okay,
just
well,
bad,
it's like the guy who grows up in Washington never went to the
Never
Washington
went to the
Monument.
Washington, yeah, or the Smithsonian.
Sure, yeah. What? There's the Smithsonian? Okay.
Yeah. So
But
these
meanwhile,
things are
every
going
kid
underground.
from like Iowa has come down on
Has
a bus
traveled.
and
on a
has
school
been here
bus
to
with
see.
no air conditioning and no seatbelts, and they come here.
Sounds like
So-
you made the trip yourself.
Yeah, so I've also heard that for example, under the metro system in Washington, particularly heading out the Virginia corridor, under 66 and all that, are other trains. And this is one of the
Wow.
reasons why it took so long, continues to take so long, to extend the metro rail system further west.
Because they didn't tell you.
They got to, deal with what's already underneath it all.
Yeah, they didn't. Yeah, it's like the Denver airport, the newer one that was built like 45 miles outside the city.
Yeah, yeah.
Nowhere. It's hard to get
Exactly.
to, and it took like 5 times the money and 10 times the time to get it done.
And then there's that mural thing.
and then the mural and
Yeah.
the
Look up the mural thing for people that don't know anything about it. Just
Well,
type in.
the nice thing is the airport was dedicated to the New World Airport Order or
Yes,
whatever it is.
yes.
So that's kind of telling.
Yeah.
So it's just no doubt we have to ask ourselves a question: is technology, is it this tool, is it for good or evil?
Yeah.
And
And I think the answer probably lies in how you use it. Just like a hammer.
its application.
Yeah.
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 Obviously, everything in moderation and balance can be a good thing, especially if it helps us out. But systematically, I think it's being used in a way where, we think our life is better because we have this, this, and this. But a lot of it is tracking, surveillance, manipulation. I mean, I hate to say that. It sounds so negative. I mean, it's a reality.
Yeah, reality it is. Yeah, I mean, your cell phone is a personal homing device.
Yeah, it tells you where you're going, and it knows where you're going, and it tells
And they know
somebody
where to
else.
find you.
And they track every email, text, phone call.
Sure.
It's all. If you think they're not, well,
Searching for magic
Just-
words.
a few years ago you didn't think this was the case. At least you suspected, and they'd say, "Oh no, we would never do that." Now they've come out. We know that they've lied, and when I say they,
Yeah.
the authorities,
Those
that
guys.
those guys. But how smart are they? They
Them.
put a thing they can track you and listen to you 24 hours a day,
Yeah.
and meanwhile you're picking it up and taking pictures of yourself wherever you go.
Right.
It's just kind of funny.
And putting it on social media.
And put it on social media and telling everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it becomes a matter of record for now and forever.
Sure. And by the way, Facebook is basically a CIA cover for, we all know this.
Yeah, you got facial recognition.
Sure,
you
and
know, all of
they-
your personal data.
And they've
It's
been
all there.
asking people now, this new thing is, and you probably fell for this, but they want a picture.
Oh, thanks for that.
Well, no, because you're such a good-looking guy, you want to put your face out there.
Is that what
But
it is?
they
Okay,
want to
good
put you a
save.
picture of what you look like back 10 years ago and then now.
Yeah.
So this way they can say, oh. Man, he didn't age a bit. Or it's like, my God, what the heck is he eating?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's he better but they want people's face change. So
Yeah,
they
and
want
I did fall for it.
Yeah, okay. See, I knew you would. But
It's my innocence. I
there's-
don't think like a criminal, so I just figure, this is pretty cool.
you've never done anything wrong. And in our conversations here, I'm always the one that's always leading towards the more controversial discussion. So you're wonderful.
Yeah, I'm the country boy. You're the inner city guy.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm trying to get the heck out of the city, though. So, but what this tells us is that this technology that they roll out, it's probably 25 to 50 years before completed, invented, and everything, and done before we actually see it.
Mm-hmm.
So when they
But like the internet.
like the internet. I mean, the military
Which
used
is
this.
really falling apart.
Well, it is. I think they keep shutting it down because I think information's getting out there and they don't want
you
to.
got
the powers that
wires
be.
going through sewers and rat eating the wires, and I mean, it
sounds horrible.
Yeah, it's a big mess. It was never meant to be what it's become, and I think that's the big surprise.
The information highway has freed us in so many different ways.
Oh my God, countless ways.
Yeah, the information has come to us instantaneously. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
But in the same breath, I firmly believe that it's kind of doing harm to us too, and the harm may become in the more social aspect of it, where we take the technology and then we kind of depend on it and we use it for our narcissistic, self-gratification.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't work, we get very aggravated, or we don't get all these feedback of responses on social media. So
Yeah, and we get unfriended.
I'm gonna now that we're talking about that, I'm gonna interject something
Sure.
interesting here. Something I might have mentioned to you before. So I'm kind of hard on social media. Of course, I partake, and I'm guilty just like everybody else. Although I try to keep it at bay.
Yeah, you snoop more though.
Yeah. I'm one of those.
You're a lurker.
Well, I used to be more vocal, but I could see that that didn't do any good.
You're like my police, my background police.
I try to help you out. I try to help out anybody I can.
Thank
the
you.
interesting observation that I see here is if you look at Facebook, Twitter, what else is there? Instagram, it just goes on and on.
Yeah, there's so many.
There's a lot of
maybe this is a
Reddit.
good time to mention the top 10 social media sites.
Do
I
it.
looked it up. It was Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram, YouTube, Google, Pinterest, Tumblr, Quora, and of course Facebook.
Well, I've heard about 6 of those. There's a couple on there I've never heard.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah. And if you were on every one of those on a daily basis, you wouldn't really have much time for anything else.
No, how do some of these people work?
They don't. This is what they do.
Yeah. Wow.
And people hire social media people or influencers to help them
Yeah.
and influence their business or their product out in the social media world. I believe it's just inundated at this point. You're flooded with so much.
Yeah, and you really do have
crap.
to use your discernment and your discretion to be able to now figure out what's real and what isn't.
Right. So this brings me to my point. So in essence, this social media, this technology has become a new religion. Right?
Yeah.
This is
I never really looked at it that way, but you're
it is.
absolutely correct.
where people might have in the past sit down, read the Bible, maybe go to, a community religious event or do this or that. They're taking that time, or even just the time of just sitting alone and thinking and contemplating the universe and consciousness. They're using it playfully in the social media world. And this brings me to when you look at the logo for Facebook or Twitter, if you're familiar with this, I think Facebook is the F. It's the F in the box.
Yeah, the lowercase.
Yeah,
F.
the lowercase F.
Yeah.
And then Twitter is the
it's
lowercase
Helvetica.
T. What did you say? I missed.
Helvetica, lowercase. I'm sorry. I spent too much time with technology.
Yeah, well, at least there's an upper and lowercase, and you understand script and print, as opposed to our kids
exactly.
today. They're going, all I know how to do is type
Right.
computer slang.
I don't need anything more than my 2 thumbs.
LOL, baby.
Right.
Okay. So
So these
so
symbolism.
So Facebook, lowercase f, Twitter, lowercase t.
Yeah.
Look at those. They're crosses.
Gotcha.
The F with the little curl at the top, T with the little curl at the bottom. But these are crosses. This is mocking, I believe, Christianity. Mocking
Or that cross.
or that cross, the other cross.
Yeah.
So it's almost as if one has been substituted for
With
the
the
other.
other,
So
yeah.
technology is the new religion.
Yeah.
I should write a song.
You should.
Yeah.
That's a great title.
It is. Technology is the new
So
religion.
so with this,
Duran Duran might have done that.
they might
New
have,
religion.
or they should have. This this cross thing.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, because even if you go back before Christianity and the use of go back to the Druids and so many people beforehand, this cross symbol was essentially an indicator or a symbol of the intersection between spirit and matter.
Wow. And that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's almost as if the manifestation of matter through the technology and the hardware that we see, and then we talked about the spiritual world, how they're coming together, and they're kind of at odds right now. It's
Yeah.
almost as if, what path are you wanting to take or willing to take for yourself? It's going to be really tough when the electricity goes out
Oh,
for many.
yeah. Like no people will be able to. They won't even be able to write.
No, I mean, after about 5 minutes, people are going to go crazy.
Yeah.
If you couldn't turn on the TV,
Sure.
access your phone, the internet, no computer,
Yeah.
nothing.
When I was a
Think about
kid, power went out. We just whipped out the old Monopoly board.
it. We didn't. It wasn't a
Went
problem.
Rode our bikes. Flew a kite.
It-
had some fun.
It was never a problem.
Yeah.
If the electricity was out before.
Yeah.
So-
But there's an addiction here.
I think we're at a critical mass right now, and everybody has a phone.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're walking from, if you're walking anywhere, even across a desert, you probably have a phone,
have a phone.
wherever you are.
Yeah. And there's probably a tower there too.
Probably, yeah.
Looks like a cactus.
A horrible cell tower.
Yeah.
That brings us to, not that this is the full discussion here, but we should touch upon the 5G network because it is part of technology.
Yeah.
We've experiencing 4G now, and supposedly, what's better than 4G?
Yeah. So they tell us
5G.
5G.
And then there'll be 6 and 7, and by the time we get to 10, we're literally going to look
We'll
like
be in a
pieces of
box.
bacon.
Yeah, we're going to be in a
fried.
box. Yeah, exactly. But this first of all, just so everybody knows, the G it doesn't stand for gigs or gigabits.
No,
or
what does the
gigabytes.
G for
It's for
stand for?
generation.
Oh, okay.
So this is the 5th generation.
Sure.
Is what we're looking at here. With the advent of this technology, which is really going to serve machine more than man. This is more of a design for computers and such, artificial intelligence
AI.
to speak to each other in a much faster, more efficient way.
Sure.
At the same time,
Let's make it easier for them.
right. And at
Or
the
it.
same time, there will be no human benefit from it.
In fact, quite possibly.
Yeah, there'll be very bad things
Detrimental.
going on.
Yeah.
Yes, detrimental. Because the technology uses a particular frequency. And this microwave technology at one time was actually a weapon. We used it to cook people during wars.
Yeah.
There were microwave weapons.
And guess what? It's right there in your phone, right next to
Exactly.
your head.
Exactly. So now this 5G
Hello?
network is going to, it's going to be so bad. Sorry, it's just my own personal opinion.
No.
We're going to need to have an antenna every 300 feet to complete this 5G network. Okay.
Might as well just put it in our body.
Yeah. Now imagine that's going to be on basically the lantern outside your house, the stop sign at the corner, the traffic lights. I mean, we're talking every 300 feet here. Okay. and the power that's going to be radiated in unnatural frequencies that our bodies really don't know what to do with, in a technology that's not even been tested properly against human and animal life.
And it hasn't really been tested either.
Right. Neither has
We don't
cellular
know.
technology at
we
this
don't.
point.
No, we don't know what this is going to do to us.
No.
Short term, and certainly not long term.
Right.
But it's the same type of technology that you do in your microwave.
Right.
You would never ever put anything in the microwave that's living, or anything tinfoil. Because
Right.
you did that once, and it.
Yeah.
You got like sparks.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful. So this is microwave coming through you. Think about what it does to water in your
Right.
microwave.
And
Think,
if it-
and your body's what? 78% water.
Yeah, and if it'll go through a concrete wall, it's going to go through your body.
And they're implementing this same technology onto the houses with the smart meters.
Sure, smart homes.
Smart homes. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, we really need to hold up.
Yeah.
We're moving way too fast. All mostly for the benefit of corporations, companies that want to implement this stuff, and we just don't know where it's going. But it's obviously going to put a clamp down on the human consciousness. That's
Sure.
ultimately where it's going.
Yeah.
It's going to harm us big time, and it's going to confuse us in so many different ways.
Yep.
In that we won't be able to think straight. And then this leads us to, you mentioned it, AI,
Sure.
artificial intelligence. This is not that this is this show, but we'll just touch upon it.
Yeah.
In that this is a trend that's happening right in front of us, and if we're not careful, it could get away from us.
No, but we're too busy with our little toys and our apps and our games. And,
Well, as long as everybody's distracted by that football game on their,
Yeah,
on the
squirrel.
TV. Yeah, squirrel.
It's just big squirrel. But before we go into AI real quick, let me just go back to the
I
5G
didn't-
thing.
Yeah, sure.
And the things that are going on with particularly wireless radiation technology. A lot of people, it's not full knowledge, but a lot of people across the planet are suffering from what's called electrohypersensitivity, EHS. Or
Oh, I'm glad you
electromagnetic
brought this up.
hypersensitivity.
Yeah.
And myself being one of them.
We're all affected, whether you're realizing or not. Some people more in tune to it than others, and I know that you've had issues throughout your life with this. So
yeah, I'm like the canary in the coal mine. So I'm the guy that's the test pattern. Okay, to say, hey, don't go in there. You know what I mean? Or stay away from that. That's me. So I know firsthand what can happen. In fact, being a sufferer of electrohypersensitivity, I have to keep my distance from Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and smart meters and cell towers and things like that. There's already 300,000 cell towers in the country, so I don't have much.
As I look
much
at you with a
space.
microphone in your face,
Right, exactly. But nothing in this entire area is wireless. You know that,
No.
because you know me.
Right.
So basically, in fact, Nikola Tesla, who we were talking about earlier, was very ill in his last years, and one of the autobiographies left behind said that it became an illness that he had contracted by being around too much electromagnetic energy.
He lived a long life, well into his mid-80s, but still,
Yep.
no
But
reason he could've-
suffered for a long time
Wow.
from this. Okay, so these things. I mean, there are experiments. Europe's way ahead of us in this stuff. So there's experiments that show how it affects us all the way down to a cellular level. From higher blood pressure to higher blood sugar to, and number one symptom is anxiety.
yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, so you get anxiety, you go to the doctor says, oh, it's anxiety, take this pill. But then you still have the anxiety because you're in an environment that breeds it.
Right, and now you're taking a pill, which is another environment which is not any better for you, really.
Right, so
You're-
5G, my honest opinion, just wait on it.
Well, we're going to try, but not everybody has, the
Nope.
average guy down the street doesn't have much control over, the power
No.
companies and what they're putting up.
No, and the bigger cities are the ones where they're testing first.
Sure, and if you live in the city, you're going to be more susceptible to that. Just turn on your search networks available
Yeah.
on your phone.
Oh, yeah, it's out of control.
Yeah, in like a cafe, like in the middle of a city, there's like 30 to 50 different. They're all there.
Yeah, the last
And if
city
they're
that I
all
lived in, I
wireless.
lived in a cul-de-sac. There were 32 Wi-Fi signals
There you go.
coming into my house, not including all of the smart meters from the power companies. This is a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
Okay, it was out of control. It
Yeah.
was absolutely out of control. And I think that the more we look at this type of wireless technology, the more we're going to see the negative effects of it all.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, and I didn't mean to short circuit your discussion on that.
No, it's fine. And we're going to
But-
go right back to artificial
Well,
intelligence.
yeah,
now.
I mean, and just to touch upon that, but AI is not something of the future. It's here.
Yeah,
It's here
it's been
right
here.
now. Mechanical robots that are almost self-moving, self-thinking. Stuff that cleans your floor automatically. But
we have
it just-
self-driving cars now.
But we're to the point where I've always discussed singularity. Singularity as in where artificial intelligence outpaces the human condition. This ties up with kind of like what's going on with CERN,
The Hadron Collider.
the Hadron Collider, where they're trying to find the God particle and go outside of this reality and figure out what's out there. I think all of this scientific research into this stuff that's kind of unknown can be quite dangerous for us, not knowing what could happen.
Yeah.
We're kind of flirting with something we just don't know, and it might be quite big.
Yeah, this is Molly Hatchet, buddy. You know, we're flirting with disaster.
And the cover of that album just, bam, as soon as you said that, it's exactly flirting with disaster.
Yeah.
We don't know where it's going to go,
No.
but I just caution everybody to go slowly and carefully, because if we're delving into something we don't know, before we know it, if it's artificial and it gets smarter than us, and at the point of singularity where it's overtaken the human, brain, we're in danger.
Sure.
Because, just watch iRobot the movie. That kind of shows you where things are going.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I don't know. The other thing I wanted to...
and again, remember, before we even find out about it, will have existed for, decades.
Sure.
So, we're sitting here talking about this, but it's already in use. Just go figure. If we're able to talk about it, if we know enough about it to have a discussion about it, it already exists.
Of course.
Yeah.
Another good point. So it's here, like I said, AI is here right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when I mean AI, it's the whole gamut. It's just everything inclusive. It's your phone, it's your house, it's your car, it's just everything. Everything has gotten electronical.
Yeah, and the collection
us.
of data too. We talk about AI and all that. Well, these computers are basically AI, and what's happening with, for example, the smart meters from the power companies that they're replacing now with replacing the old analog meters with these new digital smart meters. They're sending signals 90,000 times a day, reporting back to the power company what you're doing. When you used your toaster, how long you had the toast button pressed down, when you open your refrigerator door.
Yeah,
and
the
tell
waves
you
are going through you back to them. So none of it's good. So you go to the outside of your house and you see if you have a little dial or a little digital.
Yep.
The dial is older. You have full right to have this on your house.
Yep.
If you live in a more rural area, more than
you'll
likely
still have the analog meter.
You have the old analog meter. And by the way, once they switch to what they call the smart meter or the smart digital meter on the side of your house, it's hard to move.
Yeah, because if your power company where you are doesn't have an opt out, you're going to have to move. I had to. Power company where I once lived. There was no opt out. It was you get that digital smart meter, or you get no power.
If you live in California, it's going to be hard to opt out, and in certain other places, especially very cosmopolitan or high volume area of people.
Yeah.
If you're in the more rural areas, then
the more density there is,
the more density,
the more you're likely not to be able to opt out.
Yeah.
And not to mention, remember, many years ago when you would build, for example, an apartment complex. Okay.
Sure.
If you had 200 apartments in this building, okay, there would be one power meter, there would be one, cable box coming into the whole building and feeding each and every particular apartment, right? And you would be your power and your water and all that stuff would be included in your rent. You see.
Yeah.
But now they want to individualize or individually meter each and every apartment. So now you go to an apartment building. If you're just in a small garden apartment building and there's 8 apartments in this one building, there's now 8 smart meters there.
And there are.
Yeah, and they're all blaring, sending 90,000 signals a day.
Blah.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it's been proven that much of this technology can and will cause cancer among people.
Yeah, and we didn't get into that, and we can have a further discussion.
Yeah, we will. But
about
back to
it, but
back to the artificial intelligence.
We know that
they're collecting data off everything.
We know that this is physically affecting people's health.
Sure,
we'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
And
this is why many people are going off the grid. That's what it means to go off grid, just to disconnect. Because, for example, with the artificial intelligence and the information that's being collected on you, the only way to not have that happen is to unplug.
Right.
Disconnect.
Yeah. So another thing that's quite possibly could have been trending, but might have been slowed down was they wanted to chip people, put a chip inside your body. This is obviously all part of the new technology.
Yeah.
And that chip would read similar to like what your credit card would do.
Mm-hmm.
So if you went in to buy something, you just swipe your wrist or whatever if the chip was in there. Identification to get you in your house, in your car.
Yeah.
Of course, if you cut off your hand, then you can't go anywhere.
Right.
But
which is what bad guys would do just to be you.
And in essence, that's what they could do to you. See, the problem is as technology increases, you don't have control over your life nearly as much.
Mm-hmm.
So where before you would lock your door and you'd be home, Now you may have to depend on a security system to lock that door for you.
Right.
You see where I'm going with this?
Or an app.
Or something, or you do it from your phone. But when that technology breaks down or doesn't work,
Or when the power goes out.
So if they don't like you, and you wanted to go buy a cup of coffee, they just turn off your chip, and you're not buying that. But more importantly, you may not be able to pay your rent.
Right, and
may be able to
fundamental
buy
Christians
food.
are going crazy
Oh,
now
sure.
on this
Yeah.
whole, because they'll tell you it's scriptural, it's biblical, it's the devil, it's this and that. and the
Well,
other
guess
thing.
what?
Go ahead.
If they do chip you, and it's in everybody, literally, that chip could be the mark of the beast.
It could be.
And in fact, we do have the mark of the beast on every product that's sold pretty much in the United States.
In the UPC code.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have the ISDNs or the UPC codes, which are barcodes. It's on every product.
Yep.
And by the way,
666.
666. Look up the barcode, go to DuckDuckGo,
Yeah.
and put barcode 666. The guy that invented the barcode put 3 sixes
Yeah.
in every barcode is formatted with this 666.
Yeah,
Just
it's
check
like
it out.
One's at the beginning, one's at the end, one's in
One's
the
in
center,
the middle,
right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and it's a 6. So and then it's a number system. So I had to buy these because I have products that we sold, that we invented, that we created. So
Right.
somewhat familiar with it. So I just wanted to kind of get that out. And then the only other thing is we have another dangerous precedent. The surveillance state is just, it's just, CCTVs are everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything you do and everything you track. But this drone technology, this is another thing.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
What-
see,
what-
I knew you rolled your
what a-
eyes on that.
Yeah,
so.
what a can of worms.
Oh,
that's
okay.
gonna be.
Well, again, it's not necessarily discussion for today,
Yeah.
but I'll tell you,
and they'll go over that wall.
they will go over the wall,
Yeah,
but
they
they can go both ways.
Yeah.
And if you have little guns on the drones, it can be,
Yeah.
it can be used as weaponry. So
And how many airports so far have come to a grinding halt simply because there was a drone spotted?
because there's a 7-year-old that was flying his drone,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again,
It's horrible, dude.
So the drone technology is just amazing now. They can go into places. They can show you things. There's no reason that we can't really fly a drone right over the Antarctic and it could show us stuff. But they don't do that.
Yeah.
So we'll just wait for the news story at 5, I guess, on some of this stuff.
Exactly.
But I wanted to put that out there because again, that's just crazy. And if it ever delivers packages to you from Amazon, wonderful. But I'm not going to be ordering merchandise like that.
Yeah, I'm not interested in the whole drone delivery.
No, not too
process.
much.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, moving on with just a couple of things that I wanted to touch base with, and then we're going to hit social media for a couple of minutes here. I was just looking online, just doing some research and looking for some things because I knew what we'd be talking about today. Some of the technological advances over in the last 10 years, the last decade, right?
Yeah.
So we've got live online streaming where you can actually, somebody can broadcast live from their phone.
Sure.
It's pretty amazing. You have self-driving cars. We've touched on that. There are now alternatives to iPhones. You used to have an iPhone if you wanted particular technology, but now, there are other options that you have. The tablets, this is all in the last, 10 years, right? E-readers, the for example, Kindle, the Nook from Barnes & Noble.
several years old.
I have, I'm a book freak, so along with my library upstairs, I also have hundreds of Kindle books that are available to me anytime I want them, wherever I go, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Even the one you're reading right now, I have on on paper and in Kindle. So you also have augmented reality devices like the Google glasses and the 3D glasses and virtual reality games and things like that. Rockets that you could just program and they send them up into space and do whatever they want to do with those. We now have solar shingles that people are putting on their roofs to provide an alternate means of power, electrical power and electricity to the house. Robots, which you touched on. There is gene editing that's taking place, which is now reaching a point where they can actually cut out a piece of your DNA that you don't want anymore. Hoverboards, which we saw in Back to the Future, and now it's a reality.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing. But I wanted to hit some of that stuff. One of the other things is the chip cards, okay?
Yeah.
So these chip cards that we have for credit cards now that have, all kinds of information on them. You talked about people eventually getting these injections and these chips being put. We're doing that on animals now.
Well, we're a step or two or a stage away from that happening.
Yeah.
And again, I think there's going to be some real pushback on that because there's an awareness and awakening that's happening, especially in this technology age. it's going to go against technology at some point.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a slight rebellion, especially if they want to start chipping people, putting chips in their body.
And you talk about that also right along line with that. A company who is in California called Second Sight received their patent for the bionic eye, which is an artificial eye that uses
Steve
a
Austin.
camera. Yeah, exactly. They uses a camera set into the user's glasses, transmitting wirelessly, of course, messages into a retinal implant.
Right.
So it doesn't fully restore normal vision, but has some level of vision. In some cases, even color can be restored. So this is how far we've gone now. We're stepping into bionics, and we can now print stuff. People talk about trying to get rid of guns and all that stuff, and that's fine. But now the technology is there. Just print one. We literally can print guns now.
Yeah.
They're printing body parts. It's
3D
absolutely
printers.
fascinating.
Sure. Yeah, and I think we're just really in the infancy of that too.
Yeah.
There's so much more to come.
Yeah.
It's daunting.
Yep.
And
I
when
know
you
you
think
have another.
Well, no,
another thing here.
I'm just reconfirming everything you said, but I want to ask a question now.
Sure.
So this is really, we kind of asked it before, but this is it. So
Can I
has
be
technology-
like Eckhart Tolle and pause like 12 to 15 seconds before I answer?
You can pause as long as you want. We're probably running out of time though.
Yeah, we are.
So tech talk. So technology has technology made our life better? Has it really benefited us? So you mentioned some really great things there that you were just going through. So I'd have to sit back and initially I'd say, wow, of course.
Yeah.
But it could be, again, affecting our human condition. In the long run, we may be further away from really being happy.
Yeah.
Because all of this it almost kind of sets a dangerous precedent in that we're so used to getting things so quickly, so perfectly, without delay, that once we become dependent on it, we're dependent on it, and it's not a part of us. It's nothing we can really control. It's outside of us. So if electricity or the power goes down, even for a short while, people will go crazy. Here's another thought. Is technology limiting our creativity?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in some aspects, maybe quite possibly in the real artistic ways, but it's certainly not limiting us in the technical creativity ways. In fact, it's probably multiplying itself at that point, right?
Right.
But it's definitely affecting, I think, human consciousness. And then here's a question. Is humans influencing the processing of this technology, or is consciousness facilitating it?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, are we bringing on this technology through our consciousness, or is it the other way?
The technology is amazing, but unfortunately, I see what's happening in the medical industry, where people who have reached a vast old age already and are just clinging on, in many cases, are being held here in this dimension before being allowed to pass on by technology.
Just to kind of wrap up just a few things.
Sure.
So we understand the human consciousness is rapidly evolving, but with it, so is technology. So again, it's kind of a little bit of
It's
a chicken
almost like
age.
a race.
But we have no doubt that that technology is killing the human touch, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
It's and another question we could ask is it affecting the way our children think?
Oh,
and
my
quite
God.
possibly it does.
Sure.
Our children their brains may be reprogrammed, and we know that they've been brainwashed, but they're being programmed differently than they were before.
Yeah.
And this could be a dangerous precedent, because we could get to the point where we're so lazy, so dependent on the electrical solutions that it could easily take us over
Sure.
again.
Yep.
It's the ultimate takeover.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, and we'd lose everything we have. So, but I guess it's how important is it for us to know everything about ourselves anyway? But that's why we research. Technology, science helps us find out all these little tidbits. But I believe that we all can go within us, inside ourselves, and figure out this question. But as we learn more about ourselves, we do raise our vibration, and ultimately, we will help the world.
Yes.
No matter what.
I
mean,
think it's a
technology
default.
aside.
Yeah, I think it's a default. The archetype, the creator, the source, wherever all of this came
Yeah,
from.
we always come full circle because we know that that's really the root to everything.
Yeah.
The technology, although it's becoming a part of us, it's still external. So let's keep it that way. Let's hold it at bay and let it, again, do what it should be doing for us. And I'd love to see a beautiful world where electricity's cheap. You could drive your car everywhere. And by the way, it would still have lots of horsepower. We don't want to, drive around in electric cars. We still want the rear-wheel drive, be able to burn out,
Right.
Play loud music while you're driving.
Exactly.
This is the
while
driving
while we're
experience.
living in Zion.
Yeah, while we're living in Zion, and,
Yeah.
and everybody's happy, but we don't have to worry about harmful microwaves cooking us from the inside out.
Not at all. And hopefully by that time there'll be technology to replace that.
But we're here to change that, and we're helping the future generations. Don't think that this is just willy-nilly. We're contemplating this today because it has to be.
It
has to be thought out. It has to be scrutinized and analyzed on an analytic basis, because if we don't talk about it and acknowledge it now, at what point will we be able to do that? And it could be too late. So
yeah, in the not so distant future, we've seen where free thinking has gotten people, and we're at a point where right now we've been allowed more free thinking than we ever have.
Free thinking, and you've taught me this. Free thinking is good. It's more like a liberty to be able to think freely, but you just can't have everybody running everywhere doing whatever they want.
No, because that's chaos and anarchy.
Yeah, well,
you can't do that.
Yeah.
People say, "Well, I want to do what I want to do." Well, go ahead, but sometimes you might end up in jail because there's rules.
Yeah. Well, what I was planning on doing didn't. It wasn't going to be quite that crazy.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And even through all of this, as we wrap this up, some of the you brought up a good point, and we were talking about social media and things like that. And the other night I spent a little bit of time on Instagram just watching some of the videos that people post, and honestly, we're in trouble. We really are. We need to start getting our kids to go back to learning how to play drums, learning how to play guitar. Do something
Singing,
creative. Take some
dancing.
art classes that don't involve a computer screen. All of this stuff to expand the gifts within, rather than spending all that time with screen time.
I believe that is our future, and at some point, we're just going to wake up completely and say, okay, well, we've learned everything from the information age, but we don't really need this much anymore. We don't need all this.
Yeah.
We could be happy with less.
Yeah.
And get back to the vibrational interaction that we used to do through dance, through music,
Right.
through creativity on an unplugged basis.
Yeah. And when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Thank you so much.
No.
You brought just a ton of information.
And
to
so
the,
did you.
table today.
This was a heavy topic.
Good stuff.
Good
Thank you
stuff.
much.
See ya.
You've been listening to Quantum Flow Radio. Email us online at quantumflowradio@gmail.com.